Today I'm trying to figure out whether the unique design and the not so unique feature set of the Bose Ultra Open Earbuds make the astronomical $300 or €350 price tag justified. Hi, my name is Andy and you're watching Andy's Tech Tone. So first let's see what I mean by unique as far as the design of the Bose earbuds. Well, when compared to traditional in-earbuds, such as the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra, the difference is obvious, as with the Ultra Opens, we do not have to plug anything into our ear canals. But while most other open-ear solutions come with ear hooks, Bose decided to give us this compact clip-on design instead. So there is the speaker unit in front and the cylinder-shaped unit at the back, with all the electronics and the batteries crammed in there, and these two units are connected with a thick but flexible rubber band. And the whole thing clamps onto the side of your ears. The buds weigh in at 6.4 grams each, which is considered extremely lightweight amongst open-ear buds. In fact, it's almost 2 grams lighter than the previous lightweight champion of this class, the Shox Open Fit. And there is also the very compact size, and the clamping force, which is so gentle that you can easily forget about the earbuds after about 10 minutes of wearing them. And while putting on the buds comes with a learning curve, the Bose Ultras are actually the most comfortable earbuds I have ever used. Literally all day long use is not an issue, there are no hot spots, there is no pressure buildup, it simply is the best as far as comfort is concerned. Of course, this is just my experience and your mileage might vary. As for their fit, the Bose Ultras are excellent for casual everyday activities such as strolling around in town or sitting at a desk all day long. And even though it took me a minute to find the optimal spot for the buds on my ears, I was mostly satisfied with their fit after an hour or so of running as well. I also took the Ultras with me on a spin outside, and while I had my reservations regarding how snug they really clamp onto my ears going in, I got back home safely with both buds without having any issues, even at speeds of around 50 an hour. I'm not saying that I was not worried about losing them during those speedy downhill sections, because after a while you really cannot feel whether the buds are still on your ears or not, but apparently none of my fears had any real merit. And while the special design of the Bose Ultra Open Buds makes them extremely easy to use with all sorts of bike helmets and sunglasses, the one downside I found was the terrible wind noise, especially at speeds higher than 30 an hour. The IPX4 rating, while sufficient enough in terms of protection against some splashes or light rain, is a bit underwhelming, as an IP55 badge was something I had expected given all the possible use cases of such a lightweight open-air design. Of course, the build quality is top of the class, but that's something you may expect for the price. Onto the battery life, this is something that Bose seem to have sacrificed on the altar of compactness and comfort. The single charge playtime can be up to 7.5 hours, which is less than what most competitors can do. And if we use the immersive mode, aka spatial audio, then it drops to 4.5 hours. The total playtime with the case can be either 27 hours or 16.5 hours, depending on our use case. And if this worse than average performance wasn't enough, Bose still resists to add wireless charging to its battery cases. I know this is not a popular feature on the open-ear market, as it's only the one Morfit S50 that springs to mind which offers wireless charging, but even if it's far from being a must-have option, given how much these earbuds cost, I simply find omitting this comfort feature somewhat outrageous. On the bright side, however, there is a 10-minute quick charge, which can give the buds enough juice for 2 hours of extra playtime, so at least there is that. And for those who are wondering about the voice transmission quality, here is a quick audio sample. So this is the audio quality you can expect from the built-in microphones on the Bose Ultra Open Earbuds when making a phone call in a quiet environment. And now let's quickly do an outdoor mic/IP rating test to see how the earbuds and the built-in mics can cope with the elements such as some rain, a slight sea breeze, and some traffic in the background. So this is the phone call quality you can expect from the built-in mics on the Bose Ultra Open Earbuds while you are out and about. As for wireless connectivity, Bose opted for a Snapdragon sound-compatible Bluetooth 5.3 chip, which brings aptX adaptive and aptX lossless support to the Ultra Open Buds. iPhone users, however, will only get the AAC audio codec, as Apple still does not support aptX in any way, shape or form. but regardless of the platform or the codec you use, the connection is mostly solid, even though I have experienced momentarily signal dropouts and weird jumps in the sound here and there. Video playback is without lip sync issues, even if the audio will hesitate to catch up with the video for a second every time we hit the play button. We also get some white noise with an active connection, but it is only noticeable in a quiet room, so that's actually not that bad, especially when compared to some of its rivals. Speaking of which, I will do all sorts of comparisons with the best open ears on the market to see how the Bose earbuds stack up in a separate video soon, but for now let's just focus on the Ultras. One last thing regarding connectivity is the fact that we don't have multi-point connection yet, but it's promised to come with a future firmware update. What we have instead is a list of previously connected devices in the Bose smartphone app and a shortcut feature called Switch Device, which allows you to use a long press action on the earbuds to toggle through that list of devices and connect to whichever one you need at any time without having to use the device, the battery case, or the app itself. And while this feature works well most of the time, there are a few caveats. Caveat number one is that if you try to switch between devices using the list in the app, it will not work as effectively and reliably as the shortcut button action, so you are better off using the shortcut option with the button on the buds. Caveat number two, however, is that the shortcut settings seem to reset themselves every single time we put the buds back inside the case, and it means losing the switch device function, as the default shortcut setting is to cycle through the different audio modes. And while that's no big deal in itself, it becomes a problem when your earbuds connect to another device when taken out of the case and not the one you wanted them to, which can again happen sometimes, and that makes caveat number 3. So even if the idea of having this manual switching option is great, the execution is far from being bulletproof, so let's just hope that the already mentioned firmware update can fix that too. And that takes us to the Bose smartphone app, which delivers the usual clean and easy to use interface with not too many features and settings. On the main page you can set up different modes with different audio settings for multiple use case scenarios such as stereo, home, run or walk. And as long as you set up the shortcut accordingly, you can toggle through these modes using the buds. The EQ menu consists of 4 sound presets, all of which are customizable using a 3-band manual EQ. Our custom curves cannot be saved, but at least the earbuds will remember your last setting when switching between 2 phones, for example. The immersive audio menu gives you 3 options: off, still and motion. Off means basic stereo with no head tracking or other spatial audio magic, and while this is supposedly the default mode and I use it the most of the time myself, I noticed that sometimes when turning on the buds, the still mode is active instead. And in still mode, we get spatial audio with head tracking. With this setting, it takes quite a few seconds for the soundstage to shift direction after turning your head, as the algorithm expects you to turn your head back in the original direction while you are set down. And as such, still mode is not surprisingly less suitable for more dynamic situations as motion mode, which in my opinion is the only spatial audio mode on the whole market which actually does a great job at following your head movement properly when you are out and about. In the settings menu we get some of the usual suspects such as how-to guides and firmware updates, but besides that we also get a list of all previously connected devices and an auto volume option which is supposed to adjust the volume of your earbuds accordingly to the surrounding noises. After a short test, however, I turned it off as I rather control the volume of my earbuds myself, thank you very much. So that was the app, which is of course available on both iOS and Android, but now let's move on to the physical buttons, which are located at the top of those barrels behind your ears. The buttons are relatively easy to locate and they register the different pressing actions promptly and accurately. One caveat is that sometimes I end up pinching my ear when using the controls, but other than that, the buttons work perfectly well across all scenarios and even in cold or in humid conditions. We got a single press for play and pause, a double press to skip a track forward, a triple press to skip one backward, and a double press then hold for volume. And besides the shortcut option, which means a customizable long press action where you can choose from the different audio modes, voice assistant activation or switch device, you cannot remap the functionality of the controls. but after a short period of getting used to the different control functions, it all works fine, so other than the occasional pinching, there is not much to complain about here. Unless we want to complain about the lack of wear sensors, which means no automatic play and pause, or about the fact that while the earbuds support single bud use, you cannot turn them on and off using the buttons, so you will need to carry the battery case with you all the time. But that's enough of complaining, let's talk about the sound quality instead, which is something I found barely any fault with. By open-ear standards, we get a punchy, detailed and enjoyable sound, assuming that we can find the correct position on the side of our ears, where the speakers can fire right into our ear canals. And that's an important note to make, as due to their unique design, the perception of the sound coming from the Bose buds can vary to an even greater degree than on other open ears with fixed ear hooks and over-the-ear canal speakers. The 12mm drivers are a bit smaller than what we can see on most competitors, and while I heard much louder open ears, such as the Clear Arc 2 Sport for example, the speakers are powerful enough to reach a volume level, which makes them usable even in noisy environments, such as on the bike with wind noise, or when walking in town with traffic around. Bass, as expected, is a bit lacking on the Bose, but it stays clean and distortion-free even at high outputs. At lower volumes, the sound is warmer with relatively more emphasis on the lower octaves, but as we raise volume above like 50 or 60%, the mid and high frequencies kind of take over, giving us a clean and detailed sound. The mid-range in general comes through with clarity, with forward enough vocals and natural sounding instruments. Voice intelligibility is top-notch, there is no sign of muddiness in the sound, so watching YouTube and Netflix or listening to podcasts gives you a great experience with the Bose buds. The highs never get too intense, but they are sparkling and present enough to convey all the necessary musical details. The immersive audio mode does not work well with most songs and I guess with music in general, but it can be a fun thing to try with movies. But especially in still mode, it still doesn't make much sense to me. The one scenario where I like using the motion setting with immersive audio is when I'm out running and listening to some electronic music, be it deep house, EDM or trance, and I don't mind the slightly skewed tonality caused by the process of creating that spatial effect, and I actually enjoy how well the Bose buds can manage all the head movements and sudden changes in direction. But I'm afraid that even with spatial audio on board, which is a unique proposition amongst open ears, the $300 or €350 price tag is a bit of a stretch for what we get. I know Bose is a premium brand, but even though their efforts in bringing us the most compact and the most comfortable open earbuds to date are commendable, I still don't see how the Ultra Open Earbuds are worth that big chunk of my own money. Of course, if you can afford them, then go ahead and enjoy all the benefits there are on offer, such as their comfort and maybe the physical buttons, but there is nothing else really going for the Bose buds, especially when compared to their competitors, which tend to cost a lot less. And again, I will do a separate video comparing the Bose buds to the competition, but this is where I stand on the Bose Ultra Open Earbuds right now. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you have anything to ask, or if you want me to compare the Open Ultras to any open earbuds in particular, share it in the comments below and I will see what I can do. Thanks for watching everyone, see you all in the next one.